Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today, I will introduce to you a former uh, person that has been really close to Romania, that we were actually neighbors in a way, because she is from Soviet Ukraine. She has come to the States 25 years ago as a classical musician with zero knowledge of the business world and has built multiple 6 and 7 figure business incomes. And I think that is extraordinary. And I will let her tell you more about what she is doing right now and what her story is and how gratitude has helped her to get to this amazing results.
Hi, Georgian. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm excited to talk about gratitude today. Um, I guess when I introduce myself, I usually like to say, whether it's in writing or when I talk to people, I'll say something like, I am a business owner who created $1 million business from scratch without any previous entrepreneurial experience because I come from the former Soviet Union where entrepreneurship just didn't exist. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
hear the word business until I came to the States. And I was a music teacher, classically trained, which even tells you that was like literally, I didn't even see a computer until I came to the States.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, the life that I was thrown into as a result of my immigrating to America took me over very quickly. I had to learn the language. I had to learn how to use a computer. I had to learn a whole new culture and way of life. And so I have a lot to be grateful for. So I'm excited to talk to you today. And I'm currently running, I just started a new business after I say that I'm a newbie with 16 years of business experience, but I started a new business. It's called Simplicity Circle. We can talk about why I named it that way and what simplicity entrepreneurship is all about. But yeah, I have a lot of things to be grateful for.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know we have some experiences that are very similar. Not just the fact that we were neighbors at one point, but also in business, that the experiences that we both had. And it's very interesting that you got to simplicity. And I'm really curious what's that simplicity in business for you. You said
Mm,
something before we got
yeah.
on live, the fact that it's important to have balance in
Mhm.
business, and I'm really curious if you can expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I recently started a Facebook group for simplicity entrepreneurs. And
Mm-hmm.
before they join, before I accept them as a member, they have to answer a question. What does simplicity mean to you? And as I'm reading all these answers, I have like 800 people in the group right now. And so I
Wow.
have a lot of answers. And everybody sees simplicity different. When I first announced that I'm starting a company called Simplicity Circle, some people assumed that I was getting rid of all of my possessions, like a minimalism kind of simplicity, which is not true at all. Because if you look at my background, I do love, having my beautiful piano in my office, and I always wanted to live in a library and in a museum. And my mom is laughing because I have every wall covered with paintings with fine art. So no, I'm not getting rid of any possessions. What I am getting rid of is the things, the mindsets, and the people and the resources that no longer serve my purpose. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how I came to find simplicity mindset in business specifically is I hit $1 million um, 2 years ago for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And what surprised me the most is that I was really looking to build $1 million because thinking it's like $1 million, right? It's the holy grail of all online marketing, all online internet businesses.
Yeah.
But when I hit $1 million, I didn't even realize that because I was too busy working.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until my bookkeeper told me 4 months later when she was doing my taxes, yeah, you hit 1.4.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I didn't even celebrate it. And it doesn't even feel the way I imagined it would feel. You know, when you hear the word $1 million entrepreneur, you think, hallelujah, right? Like you think something
Yeah.
big of that person. And I didn't feel big. I didn't feel any more significant. And most important, I didn't feel any happier.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I told my husband, you know, when I hit six figures, $100,000, I remember that moment. That
Hmm.
moment, I was on cloud nine. It was more exciting, right? Because it was like, it was a big milestone. My business was still very simple. So after I hit $1 million and didn't realize it, and it didn't make me feel any happier, I started looking elsewhere. And maybe it's a little too much information too early on, but what was
No
happening
problem.
in my business is I started having panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though I didn't know that this was the wrong kind of business for me, the wrong kind of pace for me, my body knew. And so I ended up selling my half of the business to my business partner and walking away, and started this new company called Simplicity Circle, where the focus is on simplicity entrepreneurship, which means that um, yes, you can grow and scale your business while keeping your independence, peace of mind, freedom, health, relationships. Um, so you can scale up while keeping your independence. And that is what simplicity entrepreneurship is all about. And apparently I wasn't the only one. When I sold my business last year, I started talking to other people who on the surface, on the outside, are very successful. But when I had private conversations with them, I learned that they were on the brink of burnout. They created monsters. They had big teams, lots of systems, lots of responsibilities that cost a lot of money. They had to produce money to cover their expenses. And so when I sold my business last year, I signed the exit agreement on my birthday in August, and it was the best present ever. But what happened was, I remember like thinking, I got nothing to do. I have no to-do lists, no deadlines, no responsibilities, no projects, no plans, no brands, no product launches coming up. Nothing. I got nothing. I was like, quiet. And that bothered me. I didn't know what to do with myself. It's like I've jumped off a fast moving train.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit where I am today.
I love your story, and thank you so much for being so honest and open about it. I I've had the same kind of experience at a much um, lower scale, and it it convinced me to look elsewhere for happiness and not in achieving these kind of goals, because
Mm,
the way we see them at other people that we look up to, and we think that if they are $1 million, if they have $1 million business, that means that their life is perfect because everyone wants $1 million
mhm,
business, right? Well, in my experience and knowing other people that have been in that situation, that's not true. And uh, if they don't have, if they're not able to enjoy and to appreciate everything that's happening in their life and all the blessings that they enjoy, it's not that much of a value actually for us as human beings if we can't appreciate and we can't enjoy what we have. And
yeah.
for me, that's why, on the one side, that's why I'm doing this work on gratitude, because as I was thinking in the future, if I would get to that point, if I wouldn't be appreciating what I'm earning and what I've built, I don't think that would mean anything for me. And if
Mhm,
I wouldn't be doing something that's meaningful, and I think that this has been somehow your experience as well, and you shift from like the documentary. I don't know if you know about the documentary From Ambition to Meaning.
I
For
heard of that. Yeah.
yeah, it's really good, and in it, there is this shift from reaching a certain goal that is usually numerical and doesn't have a bigger purpose to it, to actually having meaning and to actually having um, feeling that you're doing something amazing with your life, and that being the main goal and the main
Yeah.
driving force. But getting back to gratitude, so can you tell us what gratitude is for you? What does it mean for you?
Hmm. Wow. Gratitude is remembering. It's remembering the things that you do have versus trying to chase the things that you might have. I'm always grateful to have a piano in my office. This piano comes with a very interesting story behind me. When I came to America, I thought I was going to be continuing my music education. And so a local newspaper in Syracuse, New York, interviewed me. And when the reporter found out that I didn't have a piano, she titled the article, "A Piano Teacher Continues to Play Without Piano."
Hmm.
And then in a little corner, it said, like, piano donation wanted. And so a businessman called up the newspaper and said, "I have a piano to donate to this young lady." I was 19 years old. And
Wow.
that piano got donated 25 years ago. And I don't know how old it was before I got it, but it's in great shape. I keep it maintained. And my kids, well, my son, I should say, my daughter didn't get too much attached to it, but my son plays really well. His hands are bigger, so he plays harder pieces. So to me, it's very meaningful. And so this piano will die with me. It will be here and then it'll go to it'll be in my family. So I'm grateful for it every day. And so when I have trouble in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, um, I always go and play. And for whatever reason, when I play, I don't think about anything else but whatever I'm playing. Like my mind just, so it's very helpful. That's kind of like, I guess it's meditative a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it also takes me back to my life in Kiev,
Yeah.
where I didn't know anything about business, internet, $1 million. I was just studying to be a musician. I put all of me in music. I breathed, slept, ate music. That's it. Life was so simple. Right? My,
Amazing.
my, my ambitions were a lot smaller. But I do want to tell you that I do believe you can have $1 million business and even a multi-million-dollar business. That is simple. That is really
Mm-hmm.
what simplicity is all about, because what's simple to you is complex to me and vice versa.
Mm.
So your goal is to find what feels simple to you. It's only complex when we don't understand it. So for example, um, when we don't understand it or when it's not in our natural abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you optimize your business around your super skills, your natural abilities, where results come with ease, why wouldn't you have $1 million business? So earlier on, I did have a $500,000 business working 4 hours a day while raising two children.
No problem.
I'm so sorry. Trying to turn off the dogs is a lot harder than turning everything else off.
Yeah, it's
Um,
okay.
so yeah, and so that business was simple, and I was still generating $500,000. It was only when I started working with other people, and as a people pleaser, I wanted to please my business partner, my team, my clients, my community, my market. And before I knew it, I leaned away from my natural abilities, and I did things that my business needed me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have $1 million business as long as you stay in what I call your simplicity zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love how simple you make it. Like it's not some theory. It's really you really live this. This is what I feel when you're speaking. The fact that it's really possible and it's really not such a big deal actually to be living this, to be experiencing this.
Yeah.
And I was I was very curious to know if you have some words of wisdom on gratitude, a favorite quote or something like this.
So I actually have a quote that I love, and it's by William James. The deepest craving of human nature is the need to be appreciated.
Mm,
The reason I love this quote is because for the last couple of years of me being in my business previously, I felt so underappreciated. And I was racking my brain trying to figure out, where did I get appreciation before that business? Was it from my clients, my customers, my coach, my family? Because everybody needs to be appreciated.
mm-hmm.
But for some people, it's more important than for others. And I never knew that actually. That some people can do things and function in life because something internally fulfills them. But other people do need external appreciation in addition to
Yeah,
their internal appreciation, almost like validation. Yes, what you're doing matters. That's what appreciation is all about. I want to know that what I'm doing matters, and if I don't feel appreciated, then suddenly I feel like I'm making no impact on this world. I don't matter.
exactly.
My ideas, my hard work, um, my insights, my creations that I, figure out how to do certain things, they don't matter. So through appreciation, that's how I know that I matter. And a lot of people, I think, can relate to that. So
Mm-hmm.
if appreciation is important to you, I would say put yourself in the environment where you are appreciated. Be aware of that.
So this is what I always tell my audience, that we need appreciation. We need to feel appreciation in order for us to feel that we have meaning in the work that we are doing, and also it's very important for us being conscious of this need to also offer it and to give it to other people that actually need it a lot. And it might be, you might be the only person that is actually giving appreciation to that person, and you might make his day or his week or his entire month because you are the only one who is actually expressing the appreciation. So I really love the quote, and I'm glad that you chose it. But I'm really curious what you do when it's hard to be grateful, when things aren't going your way, and when gratitude isn't the first thing that's on your mind.
Mm-hmm. Um, I think, well, I mentioned that I like to play piano, and I also like to focus on things that I do have rather than the things that I don't have. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if something is happening that I just can't control, and when life is tough, um, the kind of things that I focus on is like, well, I'm looking outside the window and it's beautiful. And I just go out and walk and do a mindful walk. I actually discovered meditation as a
Mm-hmm.
result of having panic attacks. I discovered that this is one way, is to meditate,
Yeah.
is to find peace outside of my current environment. Because when you're working really um, hard and your mind is always busy, anxiety can creep in for some people. And I think that's what happened with me, is that my mind was always anxious because I would always have deadlines and I would jump from one project to the next. And just when we finished one launch, the next launch is coming right up and I need to shoot new videos. And
Oh
there's a
my
live
God.
event coming up and I need to work with joint venture partners. Oh, and by the way, another JV partner wants me to promote them. And this constant ticker in the back of my
Mm-hmm.
mind of anxious thinking, that is what sometimes causes anxiety and eventually panic attacks. And so what I needed to do was to walk away from that and focus on something that is not as stressful and something that is a little bit more peaceful. And one of the things my coach actually taught me is slow down. Because
Mm-hmm.
when we, especially for high achievers, what happens is we push ourselves and we work at a pace that is like we're trying to accomplish goals at the speed of light.
Yeah.
So what she was saying to me is try to slow down and accomplish things and do things at the speed of life.
Wow,
And
that's so beautiful.
that is very different, right? Speed of life versus speed of light. So anytime that I'm stressed and I'm angry at somebody or at something, I remind myself to slow down and to focus on life and just to change my pace to speed of life.
That's so beautiful. This is
Yeah.
actually a really good quote as well, to do things at the speed of life.
Mm-hmm.
And also I believe that nature helps us see the rhythm, the natural rhythms of how nature works, and the fact that a tree doesn't I don't know, doesn't try really hard to grow really fast because it has its own pace. And
Process.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And it takes enough time for it to be strong, to have good roots, and to be able to grow into a big tree. But
Yeah.
it takes into consideration much more than just growing like really really fast, and not taking into consideration the fact that it needs roots, that it needs to put just a little bit of in every day.
And it's funny that you mentioned trees because when I walked away from my business last year and I went outside for a walk and I for the first time in years started noticing these amazing trees on the street next to mine. And I was starting to think and get curious, how old are these trees? And all of this has grown and people before me probably saw this tree planted. Like all these ideas and thoughts came into my mind that I never had before, that I
Hmm.
never even noticed. So I have a little thing that I do is like, when was the last time you noticed the nature outside your window or the trees or anything that is like created by nature? And I'm not a very spiritual person. Actually, people who have known me before last year, they would be shocked that I'm even talking about this because I just don't talk about things that are not tangible, that you can't touch or see or experience, right? So talking about trees feels a little weird for me right now, but I will tell you that noticing a tree after I sold my $1 million business or half of it, that was the best and the most unique experience that I'll remember, because I didn't notice trees and I thought, I'm in my 40s and I
Wow.
forgot to notice things that are beautiful in life. And when we die, none of it matters. What matters
Hmm.
is like um, what you gave your family, how you've impacted other people. But none of it matters if you were miserable. I'm getting too philosophical on you, so I'm going to move on.
No, no problem, no problem. I love this. I love this. And it's very true because I always ask myself this question, what actually matters in life, and um, what are the things that we take with us, and the really long term vision of life. Because if I would think really short term, or if people in general would think just short term, they would think about survival. They would think about, I don't know, maybe making a lot of money, and they might not think about the impact that they have when they do something. I don't know, maybe they think that getting a lot of money really fast can be done by selling drugs or selling, I don't know,
Yeah.
guns. And you can do that, but it's only a short term view, because you don't see what happens when you're doing that. The fact that you're not doing something positive with yourself, with your life, and also you're not doing something positive for other people as well. So I think, um, thinking about the really long term view is really helpful to be able to understand what's best for you to do right now and for the next years to come, maybe decades or so.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And one of the things that I discovered after I left the business last year was uncertainty. And I've always been certain in my future income. I am a planner. I would have like a 2-year plan of how I'm going to generate this much money, how I'm going to build my audience, all these things that you do as you grow your business, right?
Hmm.
And suddenly I had this massive uncertainty, and I felt like, oh, this is what my clients experience when they don't have income, when they don't have a great business, or when they don't have a subscriber list. Um,
Hmm.
and if I were to go back in time and kind of talk to myself, in fact, that's one of the things that I tell my kids. There are two things that are still true. So that's what I would suggest you ask is, what do you have clarity on? What do you have certainty around? And for
Hmm.
me, it's two things, and I think that that is something that worth writing down. If you want to be successful on your terms, you want to focus on mastering a skill that is valuable to others.
Hmm.
I've always told that to my children. I have a 22-year-old son, which is hard to believe because I still feel like I'm in my 20s.
That's awesome.
Sometimes, and he gets really upset when people confuse us for me being his older sister.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing.
yes, I find it really fun, and I appreciate when people comment on that. But that's the one thing that I've always told my son is just master one skill that is valuable to others. If you can bring value to other people, you will never be poor.
Hmm.
So I have really strong clarity on that, and I'm grateful for mastering several skills in my business, like marketing, like communication. There's certain things that I feel like I've mastered, and I don't mean
Hmm.
mastery as in perfection. I mean, it's always going to be work in progress, but it
Yeah.
improves every time you do it, right? And I'm grateful for my son to master communication. He's a masterful communicator. Even though he works as an electrical engineer, his primary skills is communication. That's how um, he gets on in life. And then the other thing that I have absolute certainty and clarity around is that you can build a very successful business as long as you optimize it around your biggest goals and skills.
That's
Around your
wonderful.
biggest skills, yeah. Because everybody thinks, well, I have to make a certain amount of money, and people optimize their business for $1 million or for 6 figures, and they just keep their eye on the goal of specific income.
Hmm.
What happens if that's what they do is they're willing to do anything. They're willing to push, force, grind, do 24-hour marathons at their computer. They're willing to take any advice and try any system or strategy as long as it promises that they'll make $1 million, right? Or they'll
Mm-hmm.
make six figures. And that's how we get in trouble. But if you optimize your business for independence, for financial stability, for passion, um, around your natural abilities and your natural skills, then your main driving force, as you said that, I really like those words, your main driving force becomes that goal. And so
Exactly. Yeah.
you make decisions from a place of power as opposed to fear.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, you can give time to and for gratitude. Like, if you if you only think about the fact that you're going to be happy as long as you make that money,
Mm-hmm.
in my experience at least, it wasn't the case. But when you also appreciate the journey, you appreciate yourself for the qualities that you have and you apply them. When you appreciate your clients and you create a business around appreciation and gratitude as well, you will get much more meaning and much more happiness out of it, than rather than just creating it for the sake of profit. But I'm really curious if you have some people in your life that you are very grateful for and that you would like to mention.
For sure. Well, I do want to mention my mom is probably my biggest inspiration, whether I realized that early on or not. But she came to America when she was 39, and it's the time when you don't really learn a new language. It's the time when you settle down and you know you get comfortable in your life, right? It's
Yeah.
not the time when you go to another country, learn a language, and learn a profession. And so she learned a new language. She got an education as a computer programmer, and she's in her 60s
Wow.
now, and she still works as a computer programmer. She's very valuable to the
Oh my
company,
God.
right? So not everybody can do that, and so I'm grateful to have her in my life because when I ask her, isn't this hard? Like, don't you want to retire? She says, yeah, I probably do, but I love this. I love it. So she's not doing it because it makes her money, although it does. She doesn't do it because she had no other choice, but she does it because she absolutely loves computer programming. She loves solving those puzzles. So
This is
she's definitely
amazing.
somebody I'm grateful for. Yeah. I would say that I'm also grateful to my professors in music college because they pushed me and they believed in me. And even though I don't do music professionally right now, what I learned was discipline, and um, I learned that hard work pays off. And I say that with a bit of with an asterisk next to it. Because yes, I worked hard, but I worked in the right direction. Sometimes people will
Mm,
think, oh, I need to work hard because hard work pays off. If you really want it, you can work hard and you'll get to your goals. And yes, you can, or you can burn out. If you're
exactly.
working, if you're working in the wrong direction, it doesn't matter how hard you work. If you are pushing and it pushes back, maybe that's not the thing that you should be working towards, or that's not the strategy or activity that you should be focusing on.
Yeah.
So I think that my music professors pushed me in the right direction.
Yeah, this is wonderful advice. Yeah, I truly believe that once we do this, um, life makes much more sense.
Yeah. And maybe the last person I will say, I'm very grateful to my business coach. I had two business coaches over the last 12 months. When my first coach heard me talk about simplicity, she said, Milana, don't do it. People will be confused. And she wanted me to do something else, something a bit more tangible. And I just felt like, you know what, I've done that, I've been there, I'm exhausted and I'm bored, I
Hmm.
need something different. Everybody is marketing something these days. Everybody's trying to tell you how to grow $1 million business or how to grow a six-figure business. I don't connect with that idea anymore. I need something fresh, something innovative, and something that reflects, uh, or something that responds to the evolution that has happened in the marketplace. Because we get emails every day, hundreds of emails. If you're very active online, you get hundreds of emails a day telling
Hmm.
you how to grow a successful business.
Yes.
And here's the fastest and easiest way to grow a business, right? And you don't know who to believe. And you
True.
delete these emails and you get confused. And so my coach did not understand simplicity, and I let her go because I felt like she could not be my supporter on my journey. The second coach, who coincidentally was one of my earlier coaches, remembered, you know, Milana, if you remember when we profiled you, we called you a demystifier. And another word
Mm.
for demystifying is simplifying. So
Yeah.
simplicity is so well aligned with what I'm doing right now, but she got it. And I developed this concept and idea. And right now, what I'm seeing, it's a movement. People don't want to build big, complex businesses. We are watching others, you know, like you need a team of people, you need all these funnels and a bunch of websites and a social media system and this and that. And the way I see it now is like, no, you don't, unless it uh, feeds into your natural abilities. You don't need to do any of it. So be careful when somebody tells you you should do this or you should do that. It's the fastest and easiest way to do something. It's the fastest and easiest way for them, not
Yeah.
necessarily for you, right? So I'm grateful to my business coach that I'm currently still in touch with, um, uh, that that you know, who saw and believed in this simplicity entrepreneurship movement, because it is growing. People are tired of complexity. People want more simplicity in their business, and they want to make money, but they don't want to sacrifice their
Exactly.
life, independence. So yeah, I have a lot of people to be grateful for.
Yeah, and by the way, where can our audience find you? Where can our audience see your work?
Yeah, so if this inspires you, if you want to build your business in a simplicity way, I have a page that you can get started with. It's simplicitycircle.com/get started. Very easy, very straightforward. It'll get you into that community. It'll give you the tools and the information, um, how to move forward with this idea and how to build your business in a way that allows you to scale and to grow, but in a way that is optimized for your personality, for your unique business personality.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So, thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing your life story and your experience. Um, Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Georgian. It was great to have this conversation. I hope that your audience is going to be inspired.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.